If you take your blood pressure pills, cut the salt, and your morning numbers are still stubbornly high, you are missing the most dangerous piece of the puzzle. Your doctor probably didn't have time to explain the nighttime dip. While you sleep, your blood pressure must drop by 20% to let your exhausted heart rest. If it stays high in the dark, your morning stroke risk skyrockets. But you can fix this tonight from your own kitchen. Just 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed or a warm cup of hibiscus tea an hour before bed commands your blood vessels to relax and drop your pressure while you sleep. Do not scroll past this. I need you to go into the comments right now. Tell me your age and tell me exactly which evening habit you are changing tonight. I read every single one, and your age tells me exactly what to research for you next. Type your comment right now. Commit to protecting your heart, and let's bring those numbers down together.
There is a quiet, frustrating ritual that millions of people quietly perform every single morning in the solitude of their kitchens or bedrooms. You probably know exactly what it sounds like. It is the harsh, tearing sound of Velcro as you wrap that little gray cuff around your upper arm, securing it just tight enough against your skin. You press the button, listen to the mechanical whirring of the machine, and you wait. You sit entirely still, perhaps holding your breath without even realizing it, feeling the rhythmic, heavy thud of your own pulse against the tightening fabric. And then the screen flashes. You look down at the numbers and your heart sinks. Despite everything you have done, despite all the sacrifices you have made, the number is still higher than it should be. You have followed the rules. You have done exactly what the rush doctors told you to do during those brief 8-minute appointments. You banished the salt shaker from your dining table. You started walking your neighborhood in the early mornings, even when your joints ached. You dutifully swallowed your prescribed pill every day, hoping that this tiny piece of modern medicine will be the magic shield that protects you from the terrifying, unspoken specters of strokes and heart attacks. And yet, the numbers on that digital screen stubbornly refuse to budge into the safe zone. It leaves you feeling betrayed by your own body, helpless and deeply anxious. What no one takes the time to sit down and gently explain to you is that your blood pressure is not a static number carved in stone. It is a living, breathing tide within you, rising and falling with the rhythm of your day. And the most critical movement of that tide does not happen while you are staring at a monitor in the morning light. It happens in the pitch black of night, while you are fast asleep, completely unaware of the silent battle being waged inside your arteries. In a healthy, functioning body, sleep is not just a time for dreams, it is a time of profound, necessary surrender. When you close your eyes and drift into deep sleep, your body is supposed to power down, your nervous system quiets, and your blood pressure is biologically programmed to drop by about 10 to 20% in those quiet, small hours of the night. Medical professionals call this the nighttime dip, but it is so much more than a clinical term. That dip is a sanctuary. It's the only time in a 24-hour cycle when your exhausted heart and the delicate microscopic linings of your blood vessels finally get to take off their heavy boots and rest. It's a period of grace where the relentless pounding against your artery walls softens, allowing the tissue to heal and recover for the day ahead. The tragedy is that for countless people, this period of grace never arrives. If your blood pressure fails to come down at night, if it stays stubbornly high straight through the darkness until the dawn, you fall into a category known as a non-dipper, and this is where the unseen danger truly lies.
Non-dippers carry an astronomically higher burden of strokes and heart attacks than people whose numbers gracefully fall the way nature intended, even if both people have the exact same blood pressure readings during the day. Your daytime numbers could look entirely acceptable, but if your heart is being denied its nighttime rest, the damage is compounding in the shadows. Consider the story of a woman named Diane. She was 66 years old, a retired school teacher, and one of the most conscientious people you could ever meet. She did everything right, but she carried a heavy, invisible weight. Her father had suffered a devastating stroke in his early 70s. Because of that family history, Diane spent a good part of her retirement lying awake at 4 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, doing the terrifying math of genetics and mortality in her head. Her daytime numbers at the doctor's office always looked fine, but to be safe, she was sent home with a 24-hour monitor that squeezed her arm every 30 minutes, day and night. When the results came back, they revealed the source of her deepest fears. Diane was a non-dipper. All night long while she was supposed to be resting, her pressure was soaring near her daytime levels. She sat in a clinical chair, tears of frustration in her eyes, and asked the heartbreaking question so many ask, "I did everything they told me to do. Why is it still climbing while I sleep?" To understand her fear, and perhaps your own, you have to understand a chilling medical reality that cardiologists have known since the 1980s. Heart attacks and strokes do not strike randomly or evenly around the clock. They cluster fiercely in the early morning hours, roughly from the moment you open your eyes until midday. When you wake up, your body floods with hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Your blood pressure naturally and sharply surges to get you out of bed and moving into the world. If you're a healthy dipper like Diane, your pressure is surging from a low, rested baseline. But if you're a non-dipper like Diane, your arteries have been enduring a relentless, high-pressure pounding all night long. They're exhausted, stiff, and stretched to their limits. When that morning surge hits, it's like a violent tidal wave crashing against a dam that is already fracturing. That morning window is the exact moment when the fragile vessels in the brain or heart finally give way. Lowering your blood pressure at night is not just about making a chart look pretty. It's about disarming a ticking clock in the exact hours a stroke is most likely to find you. This realization is terrifying, but it's also the key to taking your power back. Because whether or not that nighttime dip happens is heavily dictated by the last few hours of your day. Your kidneys, your hormones, and the inner lining of your blood vessels run on a strict internal clock. In the evening, your body is practically begging for the raw materials it needs to initiate that resting phase. It's a biological process that is already trying to happen, but it needs your help. It needs the right nutrients, potassium to signal the kidneys to flush out the salt you accumulated during the day, magnesium to soothe the nervous system into a deep sleep, and natural plant compounds to literally command the tight, stressed muscles of your arteries to widen and relax. Instead of providing these tools, modern life pushes us to do the exact opposite. We arrive at the end of a stressful day, exhausted, and we unknowingly jam our foot on the biological brakes. We reach for the salty late-night snacks that force our kidneys to hoard water, driving the pressure up. We pour a heavy glass of wine to numb the stress of the day, completely unaware that while the alcohol might make us drowsy, it quietly and violently holds our heart rate and blood pressure hostage for the rest of the night. We disrupt the very sleep cycles our bodies desperately need to trigger the dip. But once you understand this intricate, hidden dance happening inside your chest, everything changes. You are no longer just a helpless patient waiting for a morning number to ruin your day. You realize that the evening is your battleground and your kitchen table is your sanctuary. You hold a profound level of control in the hour or two before you go to sleep.
By simply changing how you treat your body in the twilight hours, you can reach into your own physiology and grant your heart the deep, healing rest it has been crying out for, protecting your life in the dark while you dream.
Imagine standing in your kitchen as the day finally gives way to dusk. The house is quiet. The frantic energy of the afternoon has settled, and the soft glow of the evening lamps has taken over. For so long, this time of night might have felt like a trap, a space where you mindlessly reached for salty snacks or poured a heavy glass of wine just to numb the stress of the day, unknowingly setting the stage for your blood pressure to stay dangerously high all night long. But once you understand the profound vulnerability of your heart in the dark, this very same kitchen transforms into a place of deep healing. This is where you take your power back. You are not just making a snack before bed. You are mixing a nightly antidote, offering your exhausted arteries the exact raw materials they are begging for to finally let go and rest. It begins with the quiet realization that food is not just fuel, it is a biological language. When you slice open a small, vibrant green kiwi and scoop out the sweet fruit, you are doing so much more than eating a late-night treat. You are handing your kidneys the potassium they desperately need to unlock the biochemical doors and flush out the sodium you have accumulated all day. Even more beautifully, you are feeding the living wall of your arteries, the delicate endothelium, the antioxidants it needs to stay flexible. But the true magic of the kiwi is its ability to summon sleep. Studies show it helps you fall asleep faster and sleep more soundly. And since deep, unbroken sleep is the exact environment your body requires to trigger that life-saving nighttime blood pressure dip, a simple kiwi becomes a gentle lullaby for your cardiovascular system. That same deeply soothing effect is hidden in the ruby-red depths of tart cherries. We so rarely think of hormones when we think of our evening meals, but tart cherries are one of the very few natural sources of melatonin in the world. Pouring a small glass of pure, unsweetened tart cherry juice an hour before bed sends a powerful chemical whisper to your brain that the day's battles are over. It cues the heavy, restorative sleep that brings your blood pressure down, while its deep red plant pigments simultaneously work to open your vessels. And as you look for something to satisfy that evening craving for a crunch, you can leave the dangerous salted potato chips in the pantry. Instead, picture a small handful of unsalted pistachios or a spoonful of earthy pumpkin seeds. For years we have snacked on these at the wrong times and for the wrong reasons, but in the evening they are a revelation. Pistachios carry a miraculous amino acid called L-arginine, which your body joyfully transforms into nitric oxide, a gas that acts like a sigh of relief for your vessels, telling them to relax, open wide, and let the blood flow freely. Pumpkin seeds, on the other hand, bring the heavy, comforting weight of magnesium. Magnesium is like a warm hand on a tense shoulder. It physically relaxes the smooth muscle wrapped around your arteries and calms your frayed nervous system, pulling you gently towards sleep. If you want to feel a profound sense of awe at what the earth can do for your body, look no further than the humble beet and the dark leafy greens like spinach, arugula, and Swiss chard. These are the closest things to natural blood pressure medicine ever grown in the dirt. They are bursting with natural nitrates. When you eat a few roasted beets with dinner or wilt a massive handful of spinach into a hot pan until it shrinks into a dark green, nutrient-dense side dish, you are flooding your system with the building blocks of that same relaxing gas, nitric oxide.
The effects are not subtle. A single glass of beet juice can drop the top number of your blood pressure by 8 points, an effect that peaks right as you are drifting off to sleep, exactly when your heart is praying for a break. Yet, if there is one single food that feels like an absolute miracle for a frightened heart, it's browned flaxseed. It's almost humbling to think that something so small and inexpensive can rival the data of modern pharmaceuticals. Stirring just 2 tablespoons of freshly ground flaxseed into a small bowl of yogurt or oats can drop your top blood pressure number by a staggering 10 points. It works from every conceivable angle, delivering plant-based omega-3s, special fibers, and vessel-opening compounds all at once. It has no harsh taste, it just thickens your food slightly, wrapping your arteries in a protective embrace for mere pennies a day. As the night draws closer, the ritual can become even more comforting. You don't have to deprive yourself of pleasure to protect your heart. You can snap off a single velvety square of dark chocolate, real dark chocolate, 70% cocoa or higher, rich and slightly bitter. As it melts on your tongue, it delivers flavanols that signal your vessels to open, giving you a beautiful, sweet end to the day that actually heals rather than harm. And finally, just before you turn off the lights, you can hold the ultimate act of self-care in the palms of your hands. Imagine a warm, steaming mug of hibiscus tea. It's naturally caffeine-free, glowing with a deep red hue and acting as a gentle, natural diuretic to nudge the last bit of extra fluid from your body. Now turn it into a 5-minute bedtime tonic. Into that warm hibiscus tea, stir a splash of the melatonin-rich tart cherry juice and perhaps a small squeeze of pomegranate juice for extra vessel-relaxing power. Holding that warm mug in your hands, taking slow, quiet sips in the dim light, you are no longer a victim of genetics or a prisoner to a plastic blood pressure cuff. You have bypassed the rushed 8-minute doctor's visits and the confusing medical jargon. Through a plate of greens, a handful of seeds, a scoop of ground flax, and a warm red cup, you have armed your body with everything it needs to protect you. You can lay your head on the pillow, close your eyes, and trust that as you drift away, your heart is finally getting the beautiful, life-saving rest it deserves.
There's a delicate, invisible architecture to your evening, one built not just by the foods you choose to eat, but the quiet habits you weave into the hours before you close your eyes. You can diligently mix your tart cherry juice, roast your beets, and stir your ground flaxseed into a bowl of oats, bringing all the right healing tools into your body. But the raw materials alone are not enough if the environment they enter is hostile. To truly protect your heart in the dark, to coax your body into that life-saving nighttime blood pressure dip, you must look at how you unwind with honesty and with immense self-compassion. Let us speak gently about comfort, because it is so deeply human to seek a reward at the end of a long, exhausting day. For decades, you may have found your solace at the bottom of a salty bag of chips or in the heavy, warming embrace of a glass of wine. When you are tired, these things feel like a well-deserved exhale, but inside your body, they act as a silent, violent alarm bell. When you consume a heavy load of salt late in the evening, your kidneys, which are already trying to power down for the night, panic. They are forced to stay awake, frantically hoarding water to dilute the sodium, inflating your blood vessels like overfilled balloons and driving your pressure up against the arterial walls. You undo all the beautiful, relaxing work of the potassium you just ate. The evening nightcap is an even tragic illusion. Alcohol is a masterful deceiver. It wraps a heavy blanket over your brain, making you feel drowsy and helping you escape the racing thoughts of the day, so you believe it is helping you sleep. But underneath that forced sedation, your cardiovascular system is in distress. Alcohol quietly but aggressively holds your heart rate up and keeps your blood pressure elevated for hours while you lie unconscious. It robs you of the restorative, deep stages of sleep that your arteries so desperately require. Choosing to walk away from that evening drink or leaving the salty snack in the pantry should never be viewed as a punishment or a deprivation. It is an act of profound, radical love for your own heart. It is you deciding that the peace of your vessels is worth more than a fleeting moment of distraction. Part of protecting that peace means fiercely guarding your sleep from interruption. If you drink a massive glass of water or tea right before bed, your good intentions will only reward you with a cold walk to the bathroom at 3 in the morning. Every time you are jarred awake, every time you flip on a light and break your sleep cycle, you shatter the biological descent of your blood pressure. The dip is fragile. It requires uninterrupted time. Shift your fluids to the early evening. Let the final hour before bed be dry and calm, and give your body the unbroken sanctuary of a full night's rest. As you take control of these habits, there is also a profound vulnerability you must embrace. Taking charge of your health at your kitchen table does not mean you are walking this path alone, nor does it mean you should abandon the safety nets of modern medicine. If you take prescribed blood pressure medication, there is a beautiful conversation waiting for you to happen with your doctor. Simply asking, "Would it help if I took my pill in the evening instead of the morning?" can sometimes be the missing puzzle piece that covers your heart during its most vulnerable hours. And more importantly, you must recognize the limits of food. If your little home monitor ever flashes a terrifying number, like 180/120, and you feel a tightness in your chest, a blinding headache, or a strange weakness in your arm, that is not the time to reach for a kiwi or a cup of hibiscus tea. That is a medical emergency. There is no failure, no shame in calling for help and letting doctors save your life. The foods and habits you build in your kitchen are meant to be a devoted partner to your medical care, not a rebellious replacement for it. To understand the true emotional weight of this journey, we must return to Diane, the retired school teacher who spent her nights terrified of the genetic ghost of her father's stroke. She did not overhaul her entire existence overnight. She did not become impossibly perfect. She simply made peace with her evenings. She traded her nightly glass of wine for the warm, ruby-red comfort of hibiscus tea. She wilted greens into her dinners and stirred ground flaxseed into her evening oats. She moved her water intake into the afternoon so she could finally sleep through the night without waking up. A few months later, she sat in her doctor's office, her heart pounding as the cardiologist reviewed the data from her new 24-hour monitor, and then the doctor smiled. For the first time in years, the relentless straight line of her nighttime blood pressure had broken. It had curved gracefully downward. While she slept, her pressure had finally dipped. Diane burst into tears. She was not entirely cured. She still took her daily medication, and her numbers were not those of a 20-year-old, but she was no longer a non-dipper. The terrifying pattern that had kept her awake, the high-risk category that felt like a ticking bomb, was gone. She had disarmed it herself. That's the gift waiting for you at the end of the day. You do not have to live in fear of the morning monitor. You do not have to feel betrayed by your own body. By simply changing the way you transition from the waking world to the sleeping one, through a handful of seeds, a warm cup of tea, and the courage to change a few ingrained habits, you become the protector of your own heart. As you turn off the kitchen light tonight, you can walk toward your bedroom not with anxiety, but with the quiet, empowering confidence that you have given your body exactly what it needs to heal in the dark.